Hi friends, it's Crystalline, and this is such a beautiful day. It's incredible. I love autumn, man. So I'm gonna talk about the midlife crisis and what's going on really with the midlife crisis. So by the time a woman hits her 40s or her 50s, and it really needs to be like the late 40s and early 50s, so you begin to feel this kind of shift. And what once felt manageable, like juggling the family and work and your achievements and all your to-dos, all of a sudden everything starts to feel heavy. And for overachieving women, meaning like you've kind of lived your life hustling and striving and pushing and making things happen, trying to push through this season of life is really disorienting. Your body hasn't really recovered from the trauma that you've been going through, or the challenges you've been going through. Your mind is foggier, and your emotional needs, which you used to bury, are kind of coming up, and they need to be addressed. So in the US and Western societies, we call this midlife crisis. And a lot of people are bugged by that name, like that phrase, midlife crisis, but I like it because it's what's happening. So the problem is that women interpret these changes as signs of loss or failure. They feel betrayed by their bodies, they're resentful of the responsibilities, and sometimes they become ashamed of their fatigue or exhaustion. So symptoms start to show up everywhere. So like weight gain, insomnia, irritability, hair loss, declining libido, and a dissatisfaction that makes you feel old and bitter, right? So it feels like the sacrifices that you've made for success and stability haven't really given you back what they promised. So the scenario can be really as simple as standing in the bathroom and looking in the mirror and not looking old, looking back and seeing an old lady looking at you. Or it can even show up you're lying in bed at night and you're wondering there's anxiety. What the hell is going on, right? So what's causing this? Well, first of all, it's not because you're broken or that you've done anything wrong. It's that you're in a certain period. Around the age of 42 to 44, Uranus, which is the planet of revolution, reaches its halfway point in your astrological chart. Now, this might sound like woo-woo, but it's really important, and I really want you to pay attention. So what happens is around your mind, your spirit, your emotions, your whole body is actually crying out for you to step into a new level of yourself. Your soul is awake, and it's grabbing you and it's shaking you and it's saying, dude, there are some unchecked patterns. So all the pushing and the striving that you've done, and all the self-neglect, where you've put other people before you, those things you used to be able to kind of push through in your 20s and your 30s, but now you cannot any longer. Midlife is starting is a force that is forcing you to wake up. But it's really important that you wake up, and this is something I want you to understand. It might be painful for you, but it's actually really essential for you and your family and the world at large, because there's something more that you are being called to. And we don't talk about it enough. We focus way too much on. So really what we're focusing on is trying to keep everything status quo. We're trying to focus on making everything happen in the way that we are accustomed to it happening. The way we used to do it is the way we're trying to force, and that's creating significantly more resistance. So again, how you used to be able to muscle through things in your 20s and 30s, you just cannot do that anymore. Midlife forces a reckoning. It's a season when unprocessed pain, unmet desires, and your buried truth demands to be acknowledged. So here's how I want you to revolutionize your way of thinking. So here's what I want you to think, and I think you're going to find that this is a revolutionary way of thinking. We're dealing with Uranus, So we want to talk about this in terms of a revolution, all right? So I want you to think that midlife crisis isn't something that you need to survive. It's not something that is killing you, all right? It's an initiation. It's something to embrace. So instead of treating this phase like it's a breakdown, understand it as a rite of passage into sovereignty, sensuality, and soulful power. So the old paradigms that that used to kind of like used to double down on and you used to get back on track, these things are going to go away. So what we're going to do is deepen your creativity, right? So we're going to ask you to stop hustling. We're going to ask you to stop validating. Looking outside of yourself for validation, looking at the things that you've accomplished and what you have around you and your friends, okay? Stop looking to your friends and social media for validation, okay? Those things only deepen your connection to the crisis and the burnout. The truth is that midlife is really asking you to stop hustling for your worth and to start listening to your soul. This is not a time of being punished for your sins, okay? It's more about getting permission, okay? It's permission to move forward in your life into something bigger. We want to rebuild your identity from the inside out. So I want you to start thinking that you're an overachieving woman, and this is really profound for you because you're someone who has tremendous power. All these years when you've been overachieving, you've been becoming more productive, more unrelenting, okay? And so right now, this crisis feels like failure, but it's the opposite, okay? You're actually you're being called to step into true vitality, sensuality, and freedom that is beyond achievement, beyond the material. The midlife initiation is a portal through which overachievers can finally stop surviving by force, but start really living in the flow. It's about letting go and letting God, or letting source life force energy flow through you. So if you're feeling that pushback from your body, from your emotions and your spirit, it's not because you're failing, it's because you're being initiated into a new world. So begin by stepping into this new phase with clarity and power. Now, I have a couple of invitations that I want to give you. First is to download my ebook, which is called Midlife Makeover, A Woman's Guide to Reclaiming Power, Pleasure, and Purpose. And you can download that for free. But I have a 42-day challenge that starts on November 2nd, and it goes through December 13th. And what I'm asking you to do during that challenge is to work with me to achieve some new goals, some big goals before the end of the year. So it's called the 2025 Year-End Blitz, and it's a 42-day challenge. And I want you to work with me because I want to show you a different way of achieving your goals. I want you to achieve all your goals. I want you to have all the things, but I want you to have all the things based on another way of achieving, another way of manifesting, all right? So come with me on this journey. There's a link to join the challenge in the comments, and it's $27 to join if you sign up before October 16th. After October 16th, it goes up to $47. It's a value at $297, all right? If I were asking you to pay $297 or $4,997, it's still a value because you're going to walk away feeling really, really empowered and having learned a lot and having achieved some really big goals by the time by the time the year ends, okay? I want you to roll into the end of the year like relaxed and being this sensual goddess that you truly are. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Bye, friend.